Hey Booze Crew, have you ever wondered about a subscription service for people like you? People who enjoy horror, the macabre, or things that are just all round spooky? Well, we've got the one for you.
That we do.
Creepy Crate is a horror and true crime subscription box filled with spooky collectibles, macabre accessories, and terrifying goodies. Each bi-monthly box is filled with over $85 of terror and includes at least one horror or true crime book, just like the one we got.
That is exactly like the one we got.
Now, this box delivers dread to your doorstep for just $39.99 with free shipping. Just go to creepycrate.store to subscribe. And because you're a listener of the show, you'll be getting a discount on your first order with the discount code
BOOZE5. That's BOOS and the number 5.
That's right. So get yours today and tell us all about it. Just say the line. Come on.
Oh my goodness. Hey everybody, and welcome back For the Booze.
What's so funny, Megan?
I can't.
No, you know what? We can't talk about that on the show.
I can't say.
Yes, For the Booze. Welcome back to another episode of For the. Just some off-screen comedy happening here. Some adult humor.
Oh man.
But we are back for another week and pretty excited because a couple things happened this last week. We came off of one of our best weeks ever.
Yes.
So to the new listeners,
welcome.
thanks for listening.
Hi.
We are so
Hello.
happy to have you here.
Super happy.
Absolutely.
Thank you everybody for coming on and listening to just little old us.
Little old us. Literally, little old us.
Yes, old.
You know, I'm gonna leave that alone. So we
I'm
also
surprised.
Want to throw out there that if you'd like to hear some more of us, you can go over to Life Beyond 6 Feet with our friend Damien from RKB Paranormal, and
Yes.
we went on a paranormal roundtable with the Black Cat Report, Fireside Paranormal, and that Paranormal Girl podcast, and of course RKB Paranormal, and it was a great time. It's a lot of fun.
Super fun time. We had such a good time with everybody. Lots of laughs to be had. So Life Beyond 6 Feet is the name of the podcast.
That's right. And if you ever wondered our stance on, like, say, cryptids and aliens and stuff, well, we get into that over there.
Yep,
so
we certainly do.
You will find out just how much we are only into the spiritual side of the paranormal.
Yes, but thank you, Damien, for inviting us to do that.
We will always have space cryptids, right?
Space cryptids. That is right.
Space cryptids. But anyways, no listener story this week. But you know what? I'm not going to say because we've been doing pretty good on that.
Yeah,
you know, we can take a week off.
We had a freaking trilogy. Come on. A trilogy, though.
Yeah, and it was a really good story at that.
It was.
So if you're out there listening and you like the listener stories and you have one that you haven't sent in yet, well, what are you waiting for? Send it in.
Send it on in.
And we will read it and we'll make it into its own like little spooky story.
That's right. And again, it does not have to be a paranormal story. We have had a detective on the show sharing his experiences in the morgue.
Mr. Vic Ferrari.
Yes.
God, we haven't heard from him in a long time.
I know. Vic, if you're still listening, we miss your stories, man.
Yeah, we should reach out to him. But this week, this is our first week off of haunted houses, and I wanted to do something that maybe a lot of people knew about.
Ooh.
You know, do something a little different, change it up a little bit. And this hotel it's like a special place for moviegoers, especially of the horror type.
Yeah.
Because the book, The Shining, was written here by Stephen King.
Mr. Stephen King.
Mr. Stephen King.
That's right.
And we are going to Estes Park, Colorado, to visit the infamous
Stanley Hotel.
That's right. The Stanley Hotel. Now, this might be one of the most famous, if not the most famous, haunted hotel ever.
Yeah, I agree.
It's got a lot of...
It's a big one. It's up there.
It's very controversial also, which we will get into, I think, closer towards the end near your parts.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, it's got a cool story, and things really did happen here. So, and there are many claims, and it's got a pretty neat history, too. So,
Awesome. I'm excited.
I think we... Oh, you know what? We'll just get right into it.
Okay.
We'll worry about the rest of it later.
Okay.
And here we go. While there are many haunted hotels around America, there aren't many more famous than the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. Before Europeans came to Estes Park Valley, the Arapaho people lived there in the summertime, and they called the valley the Circle. When 3 elderly Arapaho natives visited Estes Park in 1914, they pointed out sights they remembered from their younger years. A photograph at the Estes Park Museum identified the touring party as Shep Husted, a guide, Gunn Griswold, a 73-year-old judge, Sherman Sage, a 63-year-old chief of police, Tom Crispin, a 38-year-old reservation resident and interpreter, Oliver W. Toll, a recorder, and David Robert Hawkins, a Princeton student. In the 1850s, the Arapaho had spent summers camped around Mary's Lake, where their rock fireplaces, teepee sites, and dance rings were still visible. They also recalled building eagle traps atop Long's Peak to get the war feathers coveted by all tribes. They remembered their routes to and from the valley in detail, naming trails and even landmarks. They pointed out the site of their buffalo trap and described the use of dogs to pack meat out of the valley. Their recollections included a battle with Apaches in the 1850s, and fights with Utes who came to the area to hunt bighorn sheep. It's believed that the Europeans came into Estes Park Valley before the 1850s as trappers, but did not stay very long. The town is named after Missouri native Joel Estes, who founded the community in 1859. Now, Estes moved his family there later in 1863. One of Estes' earlier visitors was William Byers, a newspaper editor, who wrote of his attempted ascent of Long's Peak in 1864, publicizing the area as a pristine wilderness. Griff Evans and his family came to Estes Park in 1867 to act as caretakers for the former Estes Ranch. Recognizing the potential for tourism, he began building cabins to accommodate travelers. Soon it was known as the first dude ranch in Estes Park, with guides for hunting, fishing, and even mountaineering. The 4th Earl of Dunraven and Mount Earl, a young Anglo-Irish peer, arrived in late December 1872 under the guidance of Texas Jack Omohundro, subsequently made numerous visits, and decided to take over the valley for his own private hunting preserve. Lord Dunraven's, quote, land grab didn't work, but he controlled 6,000 acres before he changed tactics and opened the area's first resort, the Estes Park Hotel, which was eventually destroyed by a fire in 1911. In 1873, an Englishwoman, Isabella Bird, the daughter of an Anglican minister, came to the United States. Landing in San Francisco, she came overland to Colorado, where she borrowed a horse and set out to explore the Rocky Mountains with a guide, the notorious James Nugent, aka Rocky Mountain Jim. She wrote A Lady's Life in the Rocky Mountains, a memoir of their travels, including the breathtaking ascent of Long's Peak, where she was literally hauled up the steep pitches, quote, like a bale of goods. On June 19, 1874, Rocky Mountain Jim and neighbor Griffith Evans had an argument. Having had bitter history with each other, Nugent and Evans hated each other and were deep personal rivals when it came to tour guiding tourists. The argument escalated until Evans blasted Jim in the head with his shotgun. Evans then traveled to Fort Collins to file an assault charge against Nugent, but he was arrested and tried for first-degree murder when Jim Nugent died on September 9, 1874. Now, evidence was put on trial, but the case was soon dismissed due to lack of witnesses to the shooting. On August 9, 1875, the Loveland Courthouse acquitted Evans of any charges in the case. Now, a man named William Henry Jackson photographed Estes Park in 1873. Then, Alex and Clara McGregor arrived soon after and homesteaded at the foot of Lumpy Ridge. The McGregor Ranch has been preserved as a historic site. In 1874, McGregor incorporated a company to build a new toll road from Lyons, Colorado to Estes Park. The road became what is known today as U.S. Highway 36. Before that time, however, the, quote, road was only a trail fit for pack horses. The improved road brought more visitors into Estes Park. Some of them became full-time residents and built new hotels to accommodate the growing number of travelers. In 1903, the steam-powered car inventor, Freeland Oscar Stanley, was stricken with a life-threatening resurgence of tuberculosis. Now, the most highly recommended treatment of the day, of course, was fresh, dry air with much sunlight and a hearty diet. Therefore, like many, quote, lungers of his day, Stanley resolved to take to the curative air of the Rocky Mountains. He and his wife Flora arrived in Denver, Colorado in March, and in June, on the recommendation of Dr. Sherman Grant Bonney, moved to Estes Park, Colorado for the rest of the summer. Now, over the season, Stanley's health improved dramatically. Impressed by the beauty of the valley and grateful for his recovery, he decided to return every year. Freeland Oscar Stanley, known for Stanley Steamer, among his many other companies, was an American inventor, entrepreneur, hotelier, and architect. He made his fortune in the manufacturing of photographic plates, but he is best remembered as the co-founder, along with his brother Francis Edgar Stanley, of the Stanley Motor Carriage Company, which built steam-powered automobiles in 1920. By 1907, Stanley had recovered completely. However, not content with the rustic accommodations, lazy pastimes, and relaxed social scene of their new summer home, Stanley decided he wanted to turn Estes Park into a resort town. And in 1907, construction began on the Hotel Stanley, a 48-room grand hotel that catered to the class of moderately wealthy urbanites who composed the Stanley social circle back east, as well as to consumptives seeking the healthful climate. The land was purchased in 1908 through the representatives of the 4th Earl of Dunraven and Mount Earl, the Anglo-Irish peer who had originally acquired it by stretching the provisions of the Homestead Act of 1862 and preemption rights. Just 2 years later, in 1909, the Stanley Hotel opened its doors. The first guests who pulled up in stylish Stanley-designed steam cars were astonished at what they saw. Here, in this mountain wilderness, surrounded by the rustic haunts of the hunter and homesteader, was an edifice that withstood comparison to the posh hotels back east. Electric lights, telephones, en-suite bathrooms, a staff of uniformed servants, and a fleet of automobiles were at their disposal. Naturally, Stanley had also done much to develop the burgeoning town. The Stanley Hotel has hosted many famous guests, including the unsinkable Molly Brown, John Philip Sousa, Theodore Roosevelt, the Emperor and Empress of Japan, and a variety of Hollywood personalities. By 1917, it was an official municipality with waterworks, a power plant, and civic organizations that were all, in some way, thanks to Stanley. Upon opening, the hotel was alleged to be one of the few in the world powered entirely by electricity. However, Lack of available power induced the installation of an auxiliary gas lighting system in June 1911. On June 25th, the day after the pipes had been filled, an explosion occurred that injured a maid and damaged the structure, though contemporary newspaper articles differ on certain details. A brief article telegraphed to the York Dispatch of York, Pennsylvania, and circulated by Associated Press the following day, said, quote, "The Stanley Hotel, built at a cost of $500,000, was partly wrecked last night by an explosion of gas. 8 persons were injured, 1 seriously. None of the guests were injured. Elizabeth Wilson of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, a hotel employee, was hurled from the 2nd to the 1st floor, and both ankles were broken. The other 7 were Negro waiters." When the Lancaster paper reprinted the story, the editor noted that Elizabeth Wilson's name did not appear in local directories, and she could not be identified as the Lancastrian. Similar accounts in local Colorado papers give the maid's name as Elizabeth Lambert and convey various dramatic details that are not confirmed by the other articles. The most comprehensive and detailed article on the incident appeared on June 29th in the Fort Collins Express and seems to be the most accurate, positively refuting that the maid had been, quote, hurled from the 2nd floor to the 1st floor, unquote. In 1926, Stanley would sell his hotel to a private company incorporated for the sole purpose of running it. The venture failed, and in 1929, Stanley purchased his property out of foreclosure, selling it yet again in 1930 to fellow automobile and hotel magnate Roe Emery of Denver. By the 1970s, the hotel splendor had faded due to lack of care and investment. It might eventually have succumbed to the wrecking ball, if not for a fortuitous visit by author Stephen King. A stay of one night seemed to be enough to inspire his 3rd major work and first hardcover bestseller, the well-known and loved The Shining, which remains a landmark masterpiece amongst a long and well-known list of novels by the author. While most aspects of his masterpiece may be a bit far-fetched and fictional, there is one detail that was actually based on facts, and that is the Overlook Hotel. While the hotel may not exist in real life, it was inspired by actual experiences Stephen King had allegedly had at the Stanley Hotel. King and his wife stayed at the secluded Stanley Hotel in Colorado in 1974. One disturbing thing from the get-go was the fact that they were the only people who were staying at the hotel, because when they arrived, it was just before it was closing for the winter. Now, King, being the natural-born writer of the horror genre, observed an unnerving atmosphere of the deserted hotel. When he explored the hotel, he was inspired by the spacious hallways and sense of seclusion from the entire world. His entire experience at the place immediately inspired him to write a horror tale. Stephen King and his wife stayed in room 217 of the Stanley Hotel, which served as the inspiration for the Overlook Hotel. Many people had reported seeing the ghost of Elizabeth Wilson, the head housekeeper, in that particular room. Wilson supposedly suffered injuries in an explosion brought on by the lighting of a lantern in 1911. Even though she didn't die because of that incident, it is believed that she is still seen wandering around the room, folding clothes and moving suitcases. Stephen King also claims that he saw a young boy walking towards his room, which couldn't have been any human, as they were literally the only 2 people in the entire hotel. All of this collectively became the ultimate inspiration behind The Shining. The entire hotel was a massive inspiration for the book. However, if one wants to know what actually made him pick up his pen and start writing, they will be surprised to know it wasn't any encounter with a ghost, but instead, actually having a nightmare. When King and his wife stayed in the haunted room, He claims to have had a nightmare that night that a fire hose was chasing his 3-year-old son through the hotel hallways as he ran and screamed in terror. This was so petrifying to him that he woke up feeling sweaty and just an inch from falling out of their hotel bed. While this would surely make any other person either leave the hotel or talk to their child, it made him light a cigarette and map out the entire premise of the whole book in his head. The Stanleys' connection to Stephen King and the terrifying night that inspired his book The Shining is the hotel's most famous and influential creepy occurrence. But strange and reportedly paranormal happenings had been reported in the hotel long before the 1970s, some specifically in room 217. One couple told the staff members at the Stanley that their bed was made around them during the night, with them still inside. Unmarried couples have reported a chilly presence settling into bed with them as they've slept in the room. Not to mention the countless other reports of visitors claiming their room being cleaned, but nobody entering the room. Now, while Stanley died in 1940 at the age of 91, many believe his presence can still be seen and even felt at the hotel, mainly at the bar and in the billiard room. His wife Flora has a penchant for tinkering around on the hotel's piano, according to multiple accounts. There are a countless number of stories and alleged hauntings that have happened at the Stanley Hotel over the years. Everything from otherworldly beings to cowboys and even children giggling in the hallways. But what is it about the Stanley Hotel that is keeping all these spirits there? There are many people who claim it to be haunted and many people who claim it to be a fraud. But it's hard to argue with hundreds and possibly thousands of personal stories of people who have had paranormal experiences within the walls of this beautiful hotel overlooking the Rocky Mountains. So, it's up to you to decide what you think about the Stanley Hotel. Is it really haunted, or is it all just an elaborate story to promote one's man book? There's only one way to find out. You'll have to book a room at the Stanley Hotel, maybe room 217. And who knows, maybe you'll have a run-in with Elizabeth herself.
Dang, I don't think I've ever known the full, I've heard bits and pieces of the history, watching videos of people going, doing paranormal investigations, things like that. But I don't think I've ever had the history just laid out like that. That is a very interesting history.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Again, I always like to go back in time probably farther than I really have to, just because of all the things that happened prior to, the whole thing in the beginning of that was, the Arapaho were battling Apaches on the land. Right. And then, in those days, we've learned from, let's say, the Banff Fairmont and stuff, people died a lot building these hotels back in these days. And then there was the explosion, which is one of those things. I don't know how it does this, but it becomes one of these, it happened according to who you ask.
Right.
And then you're just really not sure.
I mean, it's an explosion. It either happened or it didn't,
Well, it irrefutably hurt people. People got hurt.
Right.
Okay. Oh, and by the way, I do want to throw this out there. I don't agree with the things that I always have to read on this show. I don't agree with one of the lines from that quote, but I did want to read it because it's the actual message that was sent. But we don't endorse that here, okay? I had a hard time reading it, so I just want to throw that out there. So if anybody's upset, I'm upset with you, but it is how they spoke back then, and unfortunately, it's part of the story.
Yeah, he came out from writing his part and was like, I have to say a word, and I don't want to.
Yeah. I'm not very comfortable with it, but I do like to be as accurate as possible when we do these. Realistically, a place like this we could probably cover this place for months straight. So, these episodes that we give you are enough to get the gist. They could give you maybe a little extra, but they're more to inspire you to go find out more for yourself.
Yeah. And I like that you go back so far, especially for the area surrounding and usually the land that a lot of these places are built on, whether it be a hotel, an insane asylum, a mansion or anything.
Tuberculosis ward.
Yeah, like anything built on top of something, there's bound to have something.
Well, there's like generations and decades of different lives that happen on top of each other.
Thank you. Yes.
You didn't have to say thank you. I would have just did it. And
words.
this is
words.
co-hosting.
I know. But like in the episode that we were on, Life Beyond 6 Feet, we had talked about like why places are haunted.
Or why we thought.
Why we think.
Because we all had to get asked.
Yeah, places are haunted. And my thing was like the land and the things that have come before it and the energy that's left behind and, stuff like that. So I enjoy hearing that far back in history to know the things that came before what we were talking about.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with you. But I have other theories that I would like to believe because they sound cool. Like my little time travel rift in time, and what we see as a ghost is just another person on the other side who sees us as a ghost.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
That was pretty cool.
But I mean, we're all just energy, and we're all just going to return back to the earth one day anyways. And it's just a cycle, and who knows? Maybe some of that energy doesn't get recycled and it gets left. You know what? This isn't the point of this episode.
It's not.
We're not here to. This is because we went on another show and we did talk about this. We have our theories, and if you'd like to know them, maybe we could do an episode one day on just.
Yeah.
You know what? We should do like a Q&A episode.
Ooh, I love that.
If you guys are out there listening, and I know we're getting off topic here, but if you think you'd be interested in like a Q&A deal, and that's something you'd like, start sending in questions to our emails.
Yeah, absolutely. Emails or social medias or wherever we can be reached. If you want, write in a question, and if we get enough of them, we can do a full Q&A episode.
Yeah. Questions, stories, or even your opinion on it all. We'll read them.
Absolutely.
Maybe we could do something like that one day. But the Stanley Hotel is not one of these places that I'm expecting nobody to know about. Mm-hmm. We do like to do the majority of that on this show because I'm trying to find things that maybe not everybody else doesn't know about, but maybe I don't either.
Right.
And learn some stuff. But every once in a while, it's kind of fun to do one of these. It's been a while since I've enjoyed the actual research part of it and actually enjoyed doing this one.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And it's got cool stuff. And this is one of those places that literally I think everybody's been to. If you're anybody of any kind of, notable popularity, you've probably been to the Stanley Hotel.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's a very popular place for people to go and do investigations, to just visit. And it's beautiful.
We are about to cross the country.
We are.
And we are going to probably go through Colorado.
We are.
Interesting. We should seriously look up and see if we could stay the night there.
I know. That would be so cool.
We should go to room 417.
217.
One of them. Well, it doesn't matter because, as we're going to find out in your part, the fourth floor is haunted. So.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Every room on the fourth floor has a story.
Ugh.
But anyways, I guess we are going to have to go from here and take a break, I guess.
Ugh.
So we'll be right back.
And now, Booze Crew, back to the show. The infamous Stanley Hotel has been called Disneyland for ghosts. It has hosted countless paranormal investigations, including teams from Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures and even Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters. Ghostly occurrences are reported in almost every room of this massive hotel. From shadowy figures, eerie laughter, flickering lights, to items moving on their own, the Stanley Hotel has all your favorite phenomena. If you get too spooked, just find a member of the cleaning staff. Apparently, the ghosts hate vacuum cleaners. Every time someone vacuums, the machines go haywire and turn off, or the plugs come flying out of the wall. Though the Overlook Hotel from The Shining is fictional, as are the characters, room 217 is the one that Stephen King and his wife stayed in, and is prominent in the novel, remains the Stanley Hotel's most requested accommodation. They claim the spirit of Elizabeth Wilson, while not having died at the hotel, decided to spend most of her afterlife still taking care of the room. Guests have reported items moved, luggages unpacked, and lights being turned on and off. Miss Wilson is very old-fashioned. She isn't a fan of unmarried guests sleeping in the same bed. So, some couples have reported feeling a cold force come between them. When they wake up, they often find that the man's things have been packed with his luggage by the door. Actor Jim Carrey stayed in room 217 when the Stanley Hotel was used for filming Dumb and Dumber. He reportedly got so spooked that he ran from the room, half naked, in the middle of the night. Some of the film's crew also allegedly got the creeps in that same room. There's also the stunning staircase between floors in the hotel's lobby that has been dubbed
the Vortex.
It is a tornado of spiritual energy, sort of a paranormal portal for all the ghosts that visit the hotel. Guests report cold spots and feeling dizzy on the stairs, as though something has just walked right through them. Orbs and distortions have been caught on camera. Mr. and Mrs. Stanley have even been seen standing hand in hand, watching over the hustle and bustle from the grand staircase. In 2016, a guest was snapping photos when they captured what looked to be an apparition of a woman in a black dress, standing at the top of the stairs. The guest claims that there was nothing up there that could have caused such an anomaly. The concert hall was built by F.O. Stanley as a gift for his wife, Flora. The stage features a trapdoor used for theatrical entrances and exits. The lower level once housed a 2-lane bowling alley. The hall underwent extensive repair and renovation in the year 2000, but it is a favorite spot of Flora Stanley's. She has been known to play the piano well into the night. Another spirit they claim to be fond of the concert hall is that of a man named Paul. Among other duties, Paul used to enforce the 11 p.m. curfew in the hotel's earlier days. Guests and employees report hearing someone telling them to
get out
late at night. A construction worker was doing some work on the floors in the concert hall when he felt someone nudge him several times until he left. Paul is also a big fan of the tour groups, and often he will flicker their flashlights upon request. The 4th floor has stories all its own. Guests staying on the 4th floor report hearing children running around, laughing, giggling, and playing. The closet doors tend to open and shut on their own. More than a century ago, the entire 4th floor was a cavernous attic. Later, it became lodging for female employees, children, and also nannies. Room 428 has reports of the sounds of footsteps and furniture moving around, but the real haunt is actually a friendly cowboy who appears at the corner of the bed. Obviously, many friendly cowboys have spent a night or two at the Stanley Hotel over the years, but there is no indication of one ever dying in the building. Those that know their Estes Park history believe this to be the spirit of Rocky Mountain Jim Nugent. This is especially because he mostly only appears to the ladies, sometimes giving them a ghostly kiss. Perhaps the creepiest room in the hotel, and the supposed favorite room of the Ghost Hunters cast, room 401, features the infamous haunted closet. While filming for the Stanley Hotel episode, Jason Hawes was sleeping in his room when he awoke to the locked closet door opening by itself. The room is reportedly haunted by an unfriendly male spirit. If you're female, just don't stand in the closet alone, as others claim to have been touched inappropriately. One former guest claimed to have seen his wedding ring lift up off the bathroom counter and drop down into the drain in the bathroom sink. Room 407 is another hive of activity. Several reports are of a spirit who likes turning the lights on and off. Unexplained noises have been reported in the room numerous times. A face has even been seen in the room's window from guests looking up to the room while outside of the hotel. As with other rooms on the 4th floor, the presence of children has been reported laughing and playing just outside the doors of the room. Room 418 itself is apparently haunted by these ghost children, and they're known to like playing games with the guests. People have witnessed lights flickering, hangers moving on their own, and some guests have even had their bed covers yanked off of them. A 4-year-old girl staying in this room with her mother told a story of a little boy tickling her feet in the middle of the night. But after asking him to stop, he disappeared. This has been believed to be the ghost of Billy, a little autistic boy who likes to roam the hotel and play with the hair of guests. Pretty much every room on the 4th floor has had some creepy occurrences. However, the most requested haunted rooms at the Stanley Hotel are rooms 217, 401, 407, 418, and 428. Before indoor refrigeration, the Stanley Hotel had an outbuilding to house the large blocks of ice. The ice house has been remodeled into a museum containing some of the original Stanley steamer cars. It also has 2 spirits that they claim have been inside. Billy, as they've named him, is a shy kid that shows up as a blurry figure in photos. Existing long before King's novel, Pet Sematary, there stood an actual pet cemetery outside of the Stanley Hotel. There are 2 beloved pets laid to rest here that like to make appearances around the hotel today. Cassie, the golden retriever, and Comanche, a fluffy white cat, who have both been seen and heard all around the property. Then there are underground caves. They have a high concentration of limestone and quartz, which some believe helped capture paranormal energy. It has been used by employees to get around the hotel, and it would seem that at least one of them is still down there. Current employees say that the smells of home-baked goods linger in the tunnel with no apparent source. They attribute this to the pastry chef who worked for the Stanleys when the hotel opened. There is also a gray cat seen stalking about with bright green glowing eyes. He is not known to be from the pet cemetery, so they claim perhaps he came from wherever those mysterious tunnels once led. The open area in front of the Stanley Hotel was originally a long driveway for Stanley steamers and a promenade for guests to enjoy the views. In 2015, it was replaced with a hedge maze. They held a competition where they chose the design from 300 global entries. This was done to connect the hotel to Stanley Kubrick's film version of The Shining, which introduced the suspense-provoking hedge maze. In the novel, the lawn of the Overlook Hotel was adorned with topiary animals. While no significant ghosts have been reported inside, people tend to get panicky and have trouble breathing while navigating the maze. But what's the hotel like according to everyday people seeking a haunted thrill? Is it really as haunted as people claim it is? We went to the internet to read what people had to say about it. Chrissy K. from TripAdvisor.com writes, quote,
"We stayed in the main historic building, and here are the pros and cons. Pros: just 4 miles from RMNP. Nice grounds, many different tours available on site. Free parking if you're a guest, and you don't need a sticker or a tag for your vehicle. Close proximity to the main street, with many restaurants and options. Great views, direct TV in the room. There is an internet that doesn't require a password. They provide a little bottle of lotion and a bar of soap. Lots of drawers for unpacking. The room we stayed in was clean. Nice blackout curtains, and a Keurig was provided." Cons: no family-friendly restaurants on site. There is a fancy restaurant and another one, but it's only open for breakfast and lunch. No pool, no refrigerators, no microwaves, no air conditioning, no room service, no valet, no bottles of water in the room. Also, we were a family of 4 in a large suite, and when we checked in, there were only 2 bath towels. I called around 8 a.m. for them to bring up 2 more bath towels, and they didn't arrive until almost 3 p.m. I had to call a few times. The built-in shampoo and conditioner and body wash containers in the shower were completely empty when we took our first shower. Little hot water. An iron was provided in the armoire, but no ironing board. No pen or pad of paper in the nightstand. No booklet or informational papers in the hotel room to tell us about the hotel or the area. Only 2 luggage carts are available at the hotel. Be prepared to lug your luggage, upstairs possibly. No one told us this when we checked in, but you will want to unload your luggage near the basement, and then take the elevators up, rather than lugging everything up flights of stairs. No one told us there were elevators, or where they were located when we checked in. The internet was extremely spotty. These could be pros or cons, depending on your preference. Very haunted. We had many experiences during our 4 days. Housekeeping never came in once during our 4-day stay.
Bren Shine on TripAdvisor.com writes, quote,
"The Stanley is a beautiful hotel with tons of charm and history. Haunted? Not sure, but odd things showed up in photos and sounds were on recordings overnight. We stayed in room 418, and I believe there are children still roaming the floor and playing around in 418. Everyone was kind and helpful. The ghost tour at night was awesome. Room was clean and bed was comfortable."
And one more from the internet. TXT Tumbleweed 68 from TripAdvisor.com writes, quote,
"Had a recent 3-night stay at the Stanley for a girls' trip. I had read so many complaints about the cleanliness of the hotel, but I didn't find it to be an issue in our room. Stayed in a King Deluxe on the 3rd floor. We possibly had a little paranormal experience as we heard someone walking back and forth from our door to the bathroom in the middle of the night. The sound was definitely in our room. Aiden Sinclair, magician/medium, who has been on America's Got Talent, was an awesome show. Tying in some incredible how did he do that moments along with hotel history. The night ghost history tour was fun and informative. Short drive to the Rocky Mountain National Park. The only constructive comment I have is that the grout in the shower needs to be bleached. It had some mildew. Such a simple thing would go a long way. I will absolutely stay here again, and may be brave enough to stay on the 4th floor.
To be fair, when it comes to the Stanley Hotel and how it's viewed online, we have to let you know that while there is 1,376 excellent reviews, there are also 443 poor reviews and 355 terrible reviews, with the majority saying that the hotel is a fraud when it comes to the paranormal. But the glowing reviews outweigh the bad ones. Today, the 140-room hotel serves as a gateway for guests all year long and has gained in popularity among Shining fans, YouTube investigators, television shows, and thrill seekers alike for the hotel's paranormal activity. Ghosts and hotel staff say several rooms in the hotel are known for their haunted activity, including, of course, room 217, popularized by Stephen King, and several rooms on the 4th floor of the hotel. Many guests claim to have seen unusual figures, heard children running down the halls, and heard music playing in the rooms with no one inside them. The Stanley Hotel offers tours daily to guests and visitors wanting a more in-depth experience of the hotel with a few scares along the way. And if you decide to visit the Stanley Hotel and see it for yourself if it's haunted or not, you'll have to ask yourself, did I put my packed bag by the door? Did I unpack that already? Was that a man standing at the corner of my bed? Whether or not you believe the paranormal doesn't seem to matter here, because when you walk through the doors of the Stanley Hotel, it's not about what you might find, it's about what may find you.
And that is the Stanley Hotel.
That was really good. I liked that.
One big thing from this is Elizabeth Wilson, it would be a Tinder date's nightmare. If you live in Estes Park and you're a frequent Tinder user, don't go try to get it on at the Stanley.
Yeah, don't.
Well, just not in that room.
Don't do that. I don't think she'd appreciate that.
I don't think she does. She's very old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Maybe she's just mad because she can't get none.
Well, I mean, it tends to be towards unmarried people.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But this isn't the 40s anymore.
It's not.
People,
but maybe she doesn't realize that.
You know, people have premarital
relations.
Woohoos now. I hope somebody out there gets that reference.
The woohoo reference?
Yeah, don't say it.
Yes.
I want to see if anybody gets that. If you
get
get that reference, email me.
Please.
But that and the weird cowboy thing, which I do remember seeing in a video that we watched on the Stanley Hotel a while back. This place just has a lot of like really neat like claims, but when I was going through TripAdvisor, I couldn't tell you how many reviews I came across that said all the paranormal stuff was just non-existent. It's all a fake. People upset about the rooms.
Okay. Well, it is a very old hotel.
Yeah.
As far as the rooms go. And as paranormal stuff, not everybody gets to experience stuff like that.
We've talked about that before. Just because you want to find it doesn't mean you're going to.
Right.
You got to be at the right place at the right time.
You got to have the right vibes, the right energy.
Well, that's what paranormal investigators have learned. Like,
right.
you just because a place is haunted doesn't mean it's going to be haunted every second of every day, and you're just going to go there and get what you want. That's not how it works. That's why it's investigating. That's why, it's like it takes time.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of people do complain about this place because in their head, I think they have it built up like as big as Hogwarts, and it's just not.
Yeah. Well, and I think with the history behind it being this extravagant hotel, but that was for its time. So translate that to
Now,
100 years later.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to hold up to those standards that it was once in the beginning.
I think a lot has to do also with people who were fans of The Shining and they want to have that like intense experience there.
That experience.
And they're not going to, you know,
Right.
that's a book. It's a book.
Yeah.
Now, I did go to the internet and I did find EVPs, so we are going to get EVPs.
Yes. I'm so excited.
And there's quite a few. So they're not long, but you know we'd like to do this. So, you know, I'll play it and you try and guess it.
I can do that.
We should come up with a name for this bit.
I know, right?
But this one's is on a page called, where's the name of it? I'm having a hard time finding it. Illuma Scotty, I think it's called. I'm pretty sure that's
Cool
what it
name.
says. And this is from about 4 years ago. And they say, so we're finishing up our ghost hunt and decided to ask Emily to take the candy like the host said we should. I offered a piece of candy after I say, take it a few times, and she responded. I won't say what it says, but this uploaded straight from my phone. So I'm not going to know what it says either. So we're both going to be guessing. And I didn't even come across a story of a girl named Sally. So
Interesting.
intriguing.
Yes.
So let's check this one out.
Let's do it.
Some things just don't add up. Why am I singing? I don't like singing on camera. Or in front of people for that matter.
Hey Emily, say hi to Mika.
Just double checking. You don't have anyone with the last name Cook, right? Cook? Who cooks? Ah!
Okay, Emily,
It's at the counter desk, okay?
here's my candy. Take it. You can have it. Have my candy. Take it.
Oh yeah, you better go back.
Here we go. Tell you what. If you can't, take...
We'll return back and you can go ahead.
This booze right here? Kinda does, doesn't it? It's not there anymore.
There's so much going on in that
I know.
clip that it's actually hard to.
It is very hard to concentrate in on that.
I heard a few voices in there. I thought I did, and then I heard a whispering underneath, like towards the end where he was talking. But
Yeah.
definitely cannot make out.
I
what
heard
it's
that
saying.
too. I definitely couldn't say what was said. That was a lot of voices going on there.
Yeah, there's a bit too much talking, but
Yeah.
you know it happens. Now I found another one, and this is on an account called. We've actually played this person's EVPs before.
Really?
This is T-Tongue 1.
Oh, nice.
T-Tongue 1, shout out. I don't know you, but maybe you'll listen to the show. And this is Stanley Hotel Tunnel EVP. This is down in the
Ooh,
caves.
Creepy parts.
Oh, you're going to love this. My daughter, Megan, and it is spelled correctly, entered the natural stone area of the employee tunnel with a digital recorder in hand. Clearly, a girl's voice says, I'm not going to tell you. A moment later, Meg is calling for Katie, and a girl's voice repeats the name. I'll give you that one. I want to see if you catch this other one. The background talking is our team at the entrance to the cave with Billy Ward, the hotel's famous concierge.
Wow.
So I'm kind of excited for this one. It's not long. It's about 30 seconds. So let's try this one.
All right.
Patient is so deep to the applications. Patient is so patient is so patient is so patient is so.
Katie, are you here?
Sometimes
Okay. They are hard to hear.
Yep. More talking in the background.
I kind of. Did you hear anything they said?
I did not know.
Okay. I'm gonna play it again.
Okay.
Maybe I'll turn it up a little bit and see if you can. All right, here we go. Hold on.
Patient is so deep. You have pictures. Patient is so patient is so patient is so patient is so.
Katie, are you here?
Okay. It is hard to hear. The second one, the last one, it's repeating the name. It says Katie.
Okay.
I'm just going off of what the video says because I agree it's very hard to understand.
It is very hard.
The first one, they claim it as saying, Megan.
Stop it. Yeah. Oh, that just gave me goosebumps. I didn't like that.
Megan.
Oh,
I'm just going to keep doing. I'm going to do that to you while you're sleeping tonight.
No, you're not.
Now we're going to go to another one, but by a bit more of a famous set of people. This is by YouTube account Mutual Dissident. Ghost Hunters, Halloween 2006, Stanley Hotel EVP excerpt.
Ooh.
Now, a possible EVP excerpt from TAP's Halloween 2006 investigation of the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. The clip is from roughly 5 hours and 20 minutes into the investigation. You will hear Grant ask, Katie, is your name Katie? The possible EVP will respond, you figure that out. So, here we go.
See, now that light from the microwave just got blocked out. Katie. Is your name Katie? Is your name Katie?
Did you hear it?
I definitely heard something. I don't know what it said.
Okay, I'll play it again.
Okay.
See, now that light from the microwave just got blocked out. Katie. Is your name Katie? Is your name Katie?
So as he's saying, is your name Katie? You can hear that faintness underneath, and it's saying, yes.
Okay, to me it sounds like Aisha.
It's saying, yes.
That's what it sounds like every time.
Are you Katie?
Aisha.
Aisha.
That's what it sounds like.
All right, so we'll do, there's a lot. We'll just do one more.
Okay.
This is from a group on YouTube called Mountain Shadows Paranormal, I believe is what it is. And it says, this is just some of the EVPs I recorded during the night of February 6, 2016 in room 316. Please visit my website, mountainshadowsparanormal.com, for other investigations and the, quote, My Haunted homepage.
Cool.
So go check them out.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting.
They're a small channel. Give them some love for putting stuff on there for us to listen to. I don't know. Here we go. Okay. So, it's very processed so they could, hear them. But there's some good ones in there, and if you really concentrate, you can hear some of what they're saying. But in case you can't, I just want to.
All I heard was like extraterrestrial essence in there.
The last
nothing.
The last one supposedly said, "Awesome weed."
Oh, okay.
So there you go. If you would like to know everything that was being said there, go on YouTube, find that link, and watch it. It says some pretty interesting things. And there's tons more if you're looking for them, not to mention there's a plethora of investigators who have been there.
So many.
And so this is probably going to be a touch of a longer episode, I'm thinking. I don't know. But we need to get to the point where we've discussed all the histories and mysteries behind it all. And there's only really one thing left that we can do. And that is...
Is it real?
Megan, is it real? What do you think? Is the Stanley Hotel really haunted, or is it really a fraud?
I think the Stanley Hotel is definitely real. I think there is way too much evidence, way too many people that have gone there, that have found things, some legit, some not legit. And then a lot of those stories started and, things were claiming to be happening before people went there with cameras and, voice recorders and things like that. And I don't know. I think it's just too long of a history of things being said happening for it to not be real.
Okay, that's fair.
So what about you?
I pretty much feel the same way.
Yeah.
I think that when you go online and you look at a bunch of people complaining about it, I think those are the people who aren't willing to accept that, they paid for the room and nothing happened, so therefore it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But,
or the people, it's an old hotel. It was gross.
Yeah.
Well, it's 100 years old, so.
But, yeah, I think there's stuff going on. You can't always count on things happening when you go places. So, yes. So that means that this week, the Stanley of Stanleyest Hotels is going to get the
big old seal of approval.
That's right. The big old seal of approval. As you could tell by
I got to do it.
As you could tell by the more feminine deep voice.
I got to do it.
So that's it. So I guess we are calling this one the Stanley Hotel to be real. And this was a fun one. I like this one.
This was a really good one. I like this one.
I learned some things that I didn't already know about it. So
we've seen a lot of videos on this place.
We have. We've watched a ton of videos. Actually, there's this young, millennial YouTuber named Danny Gonzalez, and I've watched a few of his videos because he's pretty funny, but he does a video where he goes here. He's not a ghost hunter. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty funny. You should watch it. He doesn't find anything, but it's worth the watch. It's pretty hilarious. So, I guess this wraps up this week, and where can they find us?
They can find us on Instagram at forthebooze_podcast and on Facebook at forthebooze.
You can also find us on Twitter at forthebooze and over on YouTube at forthebooze. And don't forget, we still would like to get your listener stories, suggestions, and just general, hey, how you doings over at forthebooze12@gmail.com.
Or if you have any Q&A questions that we can kind of start adding up and maybe do an episode. I think it'd really be cool. So if you have any questions about us, the show, places, anything.
That's right. And also 5 stars, rate and review wherever you listen. You might not think it helps, but it helps a lot.
It does.
It helps a lot. And I've been kicking around the idea of a Patreon.
Yeah.
I think I have some ideas for extra content that we could be giving to everybody. So if that's something you'd be interested in, let us know. We really would like to take the show to the next level, and we can really only do that with your help. So
absolutely. And when you rate and review, you can leave a comment, and you can say anything at all. You can say my toe hurts, and we'll be like, yeah. Mine hurt last week.
You can tell us you hate us, but as long as you're listening, that's fine.
Yeah.
And as long as it's 5 stars, that's cool too.
And guess what? We don't hate you.
That's right. That's right. We just want you to keep on coming back. So I guess this is it.
I think it is. So thank you, everybody, so very much for listening. And we will see you in the next one.
The next one?
The next one.
The next one.
That one.
All right. Bye.